Don't play dumb, Elena. I saw you at the rest stop, in the mountains, you and him.
She froze. Her blood ran cold. She had never seen Nathan like this before. Nathan...
Do you love him?
She couldn't answer. But Nathan stepped closer, furious but with eyes brimming with tears.
I know I'm not Liam. I know you didn't choose me. But I never used that to force myself into your life.
And that's when she was truly at a loss for words. Nathan, she whispered, suddenly feeling a tightness in her chest she couldn't explain. But it was too late. He stepped forward. She didn't move as he held her arms, firm, but not painful.
I wish on our wedding night I took what was rightfully mine, a husband's right.
What are you saying? He kissed her, hard, not tender, not soft. It was a kiss full of rage, pain, and regret. Nathan, stop! But he didn't. He pushed her onto the long couch in the living room, losing his self-control. Even as she tried to resist, he wouldn't listen. The desperation in his kisses burned against her skin, her neck, her shoulder, her lips, all of it born from heartbreak.
Heart's Audio Library presents A Man's One-Sided Love, a novel by Honey Hearts. But before I start the story, kindly hit the subscribe button and also hit like if you like the story. Thank you.
Part 1. It's cold, Elena complained as she hugged herself, standing on the porch of the coal estate while watching the soft snowflakes slowly fall from the dark sky. She didn't care, even though she was freezing in her thin bridal robe. She'd rather be cold than savor the warmth of the wedding she never wanted to happen. Behind her came loud laughter from the reception hall, but she chose to step outside, away from the guests cheering, from Nathan's relatives giving her scrutinizing looks, and from the music that seemed to push her to enjoy herself. Fake. All of this was fake. She was startled when someone handed her a coat.
You're cold already, Elena.
Nathan Cole said behind her. His voice was quiet, calm, just like always. She didn't take the coat. I'm fine, she replied coldly.
You're not fine.
He answered softly but directly. She turned to look at him. His smile was still beautiful. The kind of smile that, if you didn't know him, you'd think he was dream husband material. Tall, charming, gentle. But to Elena, he was a reminder of everything she didn't choose.
You don't have to pretend.
Nathan added.
You can cry if you want, or scream, or punch me. I won't stop you.
She laughed bitterly. You really want to hear what I want to do? Nathan didn't blink.
Go ahead.
I want to turn back time. I want to undo everything. I wish I never married you. Nathan was silent. He just looked at her. No anger, no shock, as if he had expected it.
I know,
he said.
But you married me anyway, for them.
That silenced her. For her mother. For Blake. For their family's resort. To pay off their father's debt that left them drowning in the cold bank's hands. She didn't answer Nathan. She turned and went back inside, straight to her room. Nathan was left outside, still holding the coat that should have been hers. Earlier at the church.
Do you, Elena Smith, take Nathan Cole to be your lawfully wedded husband?
The officiant asked as she tried to hold back her sobs. She looked at her mother, standing beside the altar. Her eyes were swollen and red. Blake, meanwhile, seemed to be constantly watching. She looked at Nathan. He was silent, but she could feel he was hoping, waiting for even a little sign that this all meant something. But the truth? She wanted to run, to leave, to scream at everyone. But she couldn't. She couldn't embarrass her family. She couldn't carry all that shame, especially knowing it would affect the people she loved. So even though it hurt, even though it felt like her chest was being pierced, "I do," she whispered, barely audible. Nathan visibly exhaled, relieved. But Elena? She died a little inside. After the ceremony, outside the church,
"Congratulations, Mrs. Cole,"
greeted one of the wedding godmothers. "Thank you," she replied sparingly, forcing a smile. Nathan held her arm, but she felt like a statue forced to smile in a painting. She wasn't connected to anything happening. She was like a ghost at her own wedding.
You know you don't have to stay by my side if you don't want to.
Nathan said softly but clearly as they got into the car. "I know," Elena replied. "But in other people's eyes, we have to pretend, right?" Nathan didn't respond. He just looked out the window. They both remained silent on the drive to the reception. But that silence? It screamed the things Elena's lips couldn't say. Part 2. When they arrived at the Cole estate, Elena didn't wait for Nathan. She opened the car door and walked straight into the house. She had already picked her guest room long before the wedding. Sharing a bed was never part of the plan.
Do you want me to bring your things to the guest room now?
Nathan asked from behind, his voice low. She didn't look back. "You bought this house. You probably already know where my room is." Nathan just nodded, even though Elena no longer saw him.
Okay.
After putting away a few things, she sat on the edge of the bed. The bridal gown was folded in a corner. She had taken it off earlier when the door closed. Now she wore a simple sweater and leggings. She stared at her phone for a long time. No messages. Not a single call. Liam wasn't there. And that's when the pain set in. The silence hurt more than any words could. She pulled the blanket over herself and lay down. But no matter how hard she tried, she couldn't sleep. Every blink, she saw Liam. The last time they met at the airport, the hug, the promise he would come back, his text then.
"Wait for me."
But what happened? The wait for me turned into ghosting. The I love you turned into nothing. Flashback. 1 year ago. "Liam, you don't have to leave. I'm not asking anything from you. You're enough for me." Elena whispered firmly as they sat in the park, on their favorite bench near the frozen lake.
"I know.
He said, holding her cold hands.
But Elle, I can't marry you if I don't have something to be proud of to your family."
She closed her eyes, fighting back tears. "You don't have to prove anything. I love you, Liam."
"But I have to. For our future. For our family."
He smiled and brushed her cheek.
2 years only in New York. I'll save up, come back, and we'll get married. I promise."
And she believed him. She believed those words. That he would come back. That he would return to her. But he never came back. Elena snapped back to the present when she heard a knock on her bedroom door.
Elena?
Nathan's voice.
I brought you some milk. Maybe it will help you sleep.
She looked toward the door but didn't open it. "Just leave it outside," she said coldly.
Okay.
Nathan replied. When the door opened briefly and then closed again, she finally got up to take the glass of milk. It was warm. Neat. Warm enough to notice she was cared for. She sighed. Nathan was too kind, too gentle, too wrong, and his kindness made her feel even more trapped. One morning of a week later after their wedding, they ate breakfast together in the dining room. Nathan had cooked pancakes, scrambled eggs, and orange juice. Classic Vermont breakfast.
Good morning.
He greeted. Morning, she replied. No emotion. They ate quietly. Then Nathan whispered,
Elena, can I ask you something?
She nodded without looking at him.
Yesterday, is it true you were at the resort all day?
She immediately looked up. Why do you ask?
Nothing, just curious.
She studied him. No anger in his voice. But she suspected there was more than just curiosity behind the question. Of course I was there. Isn't that enough for you? She said sharply. Nathan shook his head.
Sorry, forget I asked.
Silence fell again between them, but inside. She felt nervous, because she couldn't tell if Nathan really saw her yesterday with Liam. Part 3. After her work at her family's resort office, Elena still couldn't calm down. All day her mind was on Liam, not because of romantic thoughts, but because of the sudden message she received yesterday.
We need to talk one last time. Just us.
It was from an unknown number, but she recognized the tone, the phrasing. It was Liam. Late at night, she found herself at the old rest stop in the mountains, right on the edge of town. It was cold, quiet, and the only vehicle parked there was a pickup truck under the shadow of a tree. As she approached, the door opened and the man she once loved stepped out.
Hi.
Liam said softly. Hi, she replied. She didn't know if she should smile. She didn't even know why she came. Silence. They stood together beneath the pine trees, surrounded by the cold wind and the stillness of night.
So how are you?
Liam asked at last. Married, she answered directly. No emotion. Liam simply nodded.
I know. I'm sorry. I only found out the other day. Too late.
Her eyes burned, but she held back the tears. Why are you showing up only now, Liam?
I didn't know. I thought
He scratched the back of his neck.
I wanted to come back sooner. But honestly, I was scared.
Scared? Of what? Her voice was low but sharp. That I wouldn't wait for you? That I couldn't hold on? Liam didn't respond right away.
Elena, I loved you. I still do. But I didn't expect...
That I'd marry someone else? She cut him off. That my father would sell me off to pay his debts? That he'd die and leave us in this nightmare? Liam closed his eyes.
I should have been there.
But you weren't. You never came back. I waited, Liam. For months. I waited for your calls, your messages, even just a simple text. But nothing. You were gone.
I didn't know how to reach out. I was ashamed. I couldn't face you with nothing to offer.
Pride? She shook her head and let out a bitter laugh. Your pride is the reason I ended up in a marriage I never chose. Silence. The cold wind stirred gently. Neither of them moved.
I'm not here to ruin your life, Elena.
Liam said.
I just needed closure. I wanted you to know that even if I wasn't enough, I truly loved you. And I don't blame you for choosing to get married. Because if it were me, maybe I would have done the same to save my family.
She couldn't speak. Every word her heart wanted to scream got stuck in her throat. She didn't say, I miss you. She didn't say, I still love you. And above all, she didn't do anything to forget Nathan.
Thanks for coming.
Liam said as he turned to leave. Don't text me again, she replied, soft but firm. He matters. Nathan, I didn't love him, but I won't betray him either. Liam nodded.
That's why I still respect you.
For the last time, they hugged. When she turned back around, the truck was gone. She buried her hands in her pockets, shivering from the cold and from the weight in her chest. When she entered the house, everything was quiet. She thought Nathan wasn't home, until he stepped out from the dark part of the hallway, eyes sharp, his presence ice cold.
I saw you.
He said, no preamble. She froze. What?
Don't play dumb, Elena. I saw you at the rest stop, in the mountains, you and him.
Her blood ran cold. She didn't know what shocked her more, that Nathan had seen them or the tone of his voice. How long were you there? She asked weakly.
Long enough to see how it ended,
His brows furrowed.
and long enough to see you hug him.
Her fists clenched. It was goodbye, Nathan.
Goodbye.
Nathan suddenly laughed, a bitter, sharp laugh.
Is that how people say goodbye, Elena? Hugs in the dark? In a hidden place like thieves?
Nathan,
Do you love him?
she couldn't answer. And that's when she snapped. You don't know everything I went through? Don't act like you're the victim. But Nathan stepped closer, furious but with eyes brimming with tears.
I don't know. Do you have any idea how every day I try to convince myself that someday you'll learn to love me? That one day you'll look at me and not hate me anymore?
She froze. She had never seen Nathan like this before.
I know I'm not Liam. I know you didn't choose me. But I never used that to force myself into your life.
His tears fell, and that's when she was truly at a loss for words. Nathan, she whispered, suddenly feeling a tightness in her chest she couldn't explain. But it was too late. He stepped forward. She didn't move as he held her arms, firm, but not painful.
I wish on our wedding night I took what was rightfully mine, a husband's right.
What are you saying? He kissed her, hard, not tender, not soft. It was a kiss full of rage, pain, and regret. Nathan, stop! But he didn't. He pushed her onto the long couch in the living room, losing his self-control. Even as she tried to resist, he wouldn't listen. The desperation in his kisses burned against her skin, her neck, her shoulder, her lips, all of it born from heartbreak. Why are you doing this? She cried, struggling under his weight.
Because I'm tired of being the nice guy. I'm tired of holding back, of sacrificing.
He whispered into her ear.
Why do you get to hurt me, Elena? Why can't I hurt you?
She couldn't stop her sobs. Please. And that's when Nathan stopped. He looked into her tear-streaked face. His kisses halted. His body froze, as if something suddenly clicked. He stood up, quiet. He took a deep breath, gently caressed her cheek, and kissed her forehead.
I hate myself for this.
He whispered.
But even if you hurt me, even if you betray me, I still can't bring myself to hurt you.
Then he turned around, left, closed the door quietly behind him. She was left there, shaking, shattered, soaked in tears. And in that moment she realized Nathan didn't deserve this. He didn't deserve the pain. He didn't deserve the suspicion, the rejection, the hurt. All he ever did was be kind, be loyal. But her? She was the one who broke him. Part 4. The next morning. It was as if a different Nathan Cole had come down the stairs. He was quiet. No smile. No usual "good morning" that he would always say, even when she never answered. He didn't even look at her as he laid breakfast on the table. And for the first time since their wedding, it was Elena who felt restless. Good morning, she mumbled. Nathan only nodded, not sparing her a glance.
Breakfast is ready,
He said flatly. She sat across from him. Her eyes went to the pancakes, the bacon, the orange juice. All of it. Nathan's cooking, all her favorites. That was always how he was. Quiet, but constantly doing things for her. She couldn't bear the silence. "Nathan," she began softly, but he was already speaking.
No need to explain, Elena. I get it. You don't owe me anything.
His voice was steady, serious.
You didn't choose me. I was just the last resort.
She couldn't move, and she didn't expect what he said next.
But I hoped. Even just a little. I hoped that maybe, out of everything, you'd at least have some respect for the sanctity of our marriage.
Her chest tightened like something sharp had pierced it. I wasn't trying to hurt you.
But you did.
She choked on her breath. I didn't sleep with him, Nathan. I didn't go there to...
I know.
That surprised her.
I know you didn't cheat on me. But even if you didn't kiss him, even if you didn't hold him for long, you still held him close in a way you never have with me.
He shook his head and let out a bitter smile.
And that's worse.
Elena's tears fell instantly. I'm sorry. But Nathan stood, grabbed his coat, and turned away.
Don't be. It's not your fault you don't love me.
In the days that followed, Elena felt the quiet shift in Nathan. He started leaving early for work and coming home late. When they saw each other, he spoke politely, but coldly. No anger, but no affection either. And the most painful part? He stopped cooking for her. Before, even when she wouldn't eat with him, there was always a plate set aside, just for her. Now, nothing. He only prepared meals for himself. Was it a big deal? It shouldn't have been. If only she hadn't started noticing. If only she hadn't started missing it. One night, almost 9 p.m., Elena found herself waiting for Nathan. She sat in the living room still in her office clothes, a glass of water in hand, her thoughts spinning around a heart that was slowly beginning to wake up. Nathan was hurting, and she was the reason. Moments later, the front door opened. He entered quietly, not noticing her right away. He had his briefcase in one hand, wearing his overcoat, exhaustion written all over him. "Hey," she greeted. Nathan paused.
Oh, you're still up?
She nodded. "I waited for you,"
I had a meeting.
he replied. She stood. She didn't know where she was drawing the courage from, but she walked toward him. "Do you want tea or coffee?" she offered gently.
No, Elena, I'm tired.
He turned toward the hallway, but this time she reached out and held his arm. "Nathan, please." He looked at her, straight into her eyes.
Please what?
She couldn't answer at first, until finally she said, "Please, stop shutting me out." Nathan stayed quiet, simply staring at her. "You could have hurt me, couldn't you?" she continued, voice barely a whisper. "But you didn't. You chose not to. You chose to forgive me even though I never asked,"
I didn't forgive you, Elena.
he said.
I just love you too much to punish you.
And that was the moment she broke. That was the moment Elena Smith realized Nathan didn't just love her. He respected her. He protected her. He gave her space, even when it was destroying him. And she? She had never given him anything in return. Part 5. Few weeks passed. Elena woke up early one morning. Her conscience hadn't let her sleep all night. Nathan's words kept echoing in her head.
I just love you too much to punish you.
Truth be told, she had tried several times to figure out when her feelings for Nathan had begun to change. When had she started to appreciate him? Maybe it was on those days he quietly sat beside her at the hospital while Blake was sick. Or those nights when, even though they didn't share a room, she always found a cup of warm tea waiting by her bedside. Or maybe that time when she tried so hard to hide her crying, but he gently tapped her shoulder, as if to say,
I may not understand, but I'm here.
Nathan never asked for anything, and that's what hurt the most. Because only now did she truly understand how much those things meant. That morning, she cooked breakfast. She wasn't sure if she got the recipe right. Pancakes, scrambled eggs, bacon, Nathan's favorites. Not perfect, but it was something. At the very least, it was effort. When he came downstairs, he looked visibly surprised to see her at the dining table.
You cooked?
Uh-huh. She didn't know why she felt nervous. I'm not sure if it tastes good. Nathan didn't say anything at first. He sat down and tasted the pancake.
A bit burnt,
he said flatly. She let out a quiet laugh. Sorry. He looked at her, and for the first time in days there was a hint of warmth in his eyes.
But it's good.
She blinked. Really? He smiled.
Yeah.
They looked at each other. No words. No need for explanations. But in that silence, something shifted. Something healed. Later that day, while Nathan was reading in the living room, Elena came over. She slowly sat beside him on the long couch, the very same spot where everything between them had almost fallen apart just a few nights ago. They sat, in silence, until Elena gently moved her hand closer to his. She didn't know if he'd take it, but he did. He reached for her hand and gave it a squeeze. Warm, steady. Nathan, she began.
Yes?
Can we start over? He turned to her.
Start over?
She nodded, and for the first time Nathan saw sincerity in her eyes. The wall was gone. The anger was gone. Liam was no longer between them.
Elena,
Nathan said.
you don't have to do this just to repay me.
I'm not doing this to make things up to you. I'm doing this because I want to. He studied her face.
Are you sure?
I don't know if I can love you right away, but I want to try. I want to get to know you. Not as some kind of debt to repay, but as my husband. Nathan's shoulders eased, his chest rising with a deep breath.
And I'll wait,
He said.
as long as you need.
And slowly, he pulled her into a hug. Not to claim her, but to embrace all of who she was. That night, they slept in the same bed. No kisses, no tears, no heat. Just a hug. Tight. And in the stillness of that embrace, she felt for the first time what they called peace. Part 6. 2 months passed, and slowly each day became lighter. It wasn't dramatic, it wasn't cinematic, but every smile, every glance, every simple good morning with a hug became part of their new beginning. They no longer lied to each other. They no longer pretended. Elena was simply Elena, not a woman forced into marriage, but a woman slowly learning how to love, truly and freely. One evening, while they were cleaning up after dinner in the kitchen, Elena's phone suddenly buzzed. She froze when she saw the name, Liam Hart. Nathan saw it too. Their eyes met.
You can answer it.
Nathan said calmly but firmly.
If there's still something you need to finish.
But this time, she didn't hesitate. Elena picked up the phone, swiped left, and deleted the message. "I'm done," she said, her eyes steady on Nathan. There's nothing left to say, nothing left to go back to. Nathan just looked at her, silent, until slowly he stepped closer. He held her face gently, as if asking, "Are you sure?" And she was.
Choose me now, Elena.
He whispered, barely a plea. "From this moment on," she answered tearfully, "I choose you." And there, between the dining table and the kitchen, in a quiet home tucked in cold Vermont, they found their true wedding. Not in front of guests, but in this kiss, their first one made of love, not anger or pain. After the kiss, they didn't speak. There was nothing more to explain. Every look said it all. This was it. This was real. Silently, they climbed the stairs to their room. It was Elena who took Nathan's hand. Not to pull, but to invite him to walk beside her in a step she had finally chosen herself. Inside, Nathan switched on the lamp by the bed. The light was soft, the cool Vermont breeze slipping in from the slightly open window. But inside the room, it was warm. He approached her quietly, holding her face in both hands, searching her eyes, still making sure this was real.
Last chance to walk away.
Nathan whispered like a prayer. Elena smiled. "You're the only place I want to stay." And finally she kissed him. She was the one who kissed first. Slowly, at first. Tender, full of promise. Then gradually, the kiss deepened. More urgent, more hungry. Not from anger, but from the feelings they had both tried to suppress for too long. Nathan undressed her, carefully, almost reverently, as if tearing away the past itself. Elena, in turn, undressed him. With every button she undid, it was as if saying, "This is the truth. This is me. And I choose you." They fell into bed together, holding each other, claiming each other. No rushing, no pressure, no guilt. Every touch from Nathan was like music singing.
You're mine.
Every moan from Elena was a surrender to a love she had long denied. "You're the one I want. She closed her eyes as he entered her. Slow, hot, unrestrained. She gripped his shoulders, breathless, her senses overwhelmed by pleasure and awe. "Oh God, Nathan." He paused, kissed her forehead, trembling.
Don't cry this time. Unless it's because I'm making you feel good.
And she smiled through her tears. "No, I'm crying because I've never felt this wanted, this loved." He kissed her again, this time deeper, more intense. They moved together, parted, and found each other again. Over and over until the quiet of the night filled with whispers, laughter, and gasps of, "Don't stop! Right there! Nathan! And God, I love you!" Until finally, spent and tangled in each other. They lay still, wrapped in a blanket of love, sweat, and shared breath. The next morning, Elena woke to a kiss on her shoulder.
Good morning, wife.
Nathan whispered. She smiled, rolled over to face him, pulling the blanket over their bodies as she brushed his hair back. Good morning, husband. At last. It wasn't paper, or debt, or lies, or sacrifice that bound them. It was love. Wild, beautiful, hard-earned, but real, and worth it. Epilogue. A half-year later. One evening, while cuddled up watching Netflix together, Nathan suddenly spoke.
Elena? If we weren't already married by law, and I asked you to marry me right now, would you still say yes?
She smiled and hugged him tighter. Every single time, Nathan. The end.
Thanks for listening. And again, please don't forget to hit the subscribe button and hit like if you liked the story. See you in my next audio story. More power.